Kevin Lowe. What's up, brother?
What's going on?
Dude, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Of course.
Funny story is you're one of the main people who got me into fitness. I don't know if that's weird to hear, but when I was in high school, I would always see, I guess, your intro, into body weight, all your crazy workouts. And I just try to mimic it at the parks and stuff. And, it was surreal. I've met you a couple of times, but it's really cool to have you in person.
Yeah, heck yeah. Thanks for having me. Yeah, we met in person in the gym, and then
a while back
at
my restaurant
at your workplace too. So comes full circle to having conversation right now.
Yeah,
So cool.
for sure, dude. What do you call it? What are you super into right now for fitness wise? Do you have any goals?
My goals have changed over the years of fitness. So, when I was playing football, I wanted to be bigger, stronger, faster. Now I just want to be stronger and keep my speed and keep my strength and move well. So right now it's more about longevity, even though I do train sometimes a little dysfunctionally and sometimes I do train heavy, but it's not as heavy as I was 5 years ago.
Yeah. Is there any programming to it? Or are you just feeling it out? Listening
it's
to your
a lot
body?
of feeling out. It's a lot of, it's definitely intuitive training, you know? But yeah, there's no structured program for me. I mean, I have a program in my head of certain movements I want to get better at.
Yeah. I feel like fitness, you always have to have a little game in your head of oh, what am I trying to get better at? I guess for you, what is that right now?
So right now specifically, just prolonging my life in terms of being able to move a certain way for as long as I can. So I saw this video of Terrell Owens, maybe a couple months ago, and he's almost 50 now, and he's still running a 40. He's shredded. He's great. And
he's almost 50 now?
Almost 50.
Okay.
Yeah. I think the video said he was 47. Don't quote me.
Sure.
But he's getting up there in age, and he still ran at 40 in low 4.5 or something, or high 4.4s. But whatever it was, the way he was sprinting was very explosive. All his muscles were working, and he looked good, and he feels good.
Yeah.
So I'm like, damn, that's a good goal to shoot for. So my goal is, I'm 31 now. When I'm into my late 30s and 40s, into my 50s, I want to be able to sprint.
Still do that.
I want to be able to lift weights, but also sprint. Sprinting has been something that has really allowed me to have fun, but also recruit all my fast twitch muscle fibers, detox my lymphatic system, really connect all my muscles from my toes, my feet, all the way to my fingertips, my jawline, my core, and my
jawline. How so?
Because with your jawline, there's a certain amount of tension or lack of tension you want to keep at certain points of sprinting and a lot of movements and lifting. Yeah. So creating force and creating tension is, in my opinion, a really good indicator of how much you can transfer power and strength, but also your ability to have longevity. They have these studies of grip strength correlated to your overall health and longevity. Yeah. And that's tension, your ability 100%. To create tension and hold something tight. So, and that goes with everything.
Yeah, I read one of those studies too. That's a big thing that I have some of my clients do who are older. I'm just hang from bars, hold, be able to hold weight and walk. Yeah. Get slept on. Yeah. And back to your point about this goal of like in your 50s, like a lot of people say, at least in my experience, client wise, it's like, oh, I'm getting old. Like I can't do that. I'm like, why not? And what's your response to that, to someone who says that between any age of like,
I think the biggest thing is, I could still sprint right now. So I don't want to lose it. So I'm still sprinting. Yeah. If I didn't sprint for like 10 or 15 years, I'd probably say, hey, I'm too old. I can't do it now. Yeah. So it's like one of those things.
If you don't use it, you lose it.
You don't use it, you lose it. But you don't have to let's just say you're even my age, or you're in your 40s or 50s, and you haven't sprinted since maybe high school. Or physical education in middle school or high school, right?
Which is a lot of people, right?
A lot of people. I wouldn't say you could never do it again, but there's a certain protocol and there's certain guidelines you could create for yourself in a workout structure to be able to then run and then maybe sprint again. Yeah. But it's all about wanting to do it and then making a plan to progressively get better. You don't just if your goal is to deadlift 500 pounds, you don't just go deadlift 500 pounds. It's like sprinting is like the pinnacle with perfect form, right? Yeah. Your goal is okay, maybe I could do the bar. Okay, cool. Maybe I could do 25s, 45s, and then you start building, and then you have a plan and a structure, and obviously you have a coach, and you film yourself, and you kind of see how you're moving.
And it's similar to running. Is that what you're saying?
I think anything that you want to do is similar to everything. Like,
okay. If how you do anything's how you do everything.
Yeah. If you want to do it, you could build the structure and a plan behind how to get there, you know? And if you don't know how to get there, ask for advice or get outside.
I guess like you're putting this emphasis on running. Why would you say that is so important, not just for you, but for people to be able to do?
I think running is one of the, I mean, back when we were hunter-gatherers, we like would walk and then run for the far distances and sprint to like go get our food or hunt, you know? So it's one of the most ancient animalistic primal movements you could do.
Yeah.
And it's something that most people don't do now because we sit in chairs and we sit in cars to get to a place, to ride an elevator up to your desk, to sit more, to do work, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's just, and it's not talked about enough and it's hard to do. So it's like most things that are hard to do, people just won't do them. It's a lot easier to just walk on a treadmill or go on an elliptical, you know? Like it's a lot easier to do lat pull downs than it is to get better at pull-ups, right?
100%.
So just all these little things that are like, you don't realize how good they are for you, but they compound into a better life.
Yeah, it's like society has built these big gyms with all these equipment and everything in there is just a business kind of, but they do function as like a bodybuilding, like you could grow your muscles in a certain way in these angles, but at the end of the day, our ancestors didn't have that shit.
Yeah, machines were actually first made for rehabilitation.
Oh yeah.
Certain muscles that were like non-functional to be able to like really stimulate that area to get blood flow and growth back into that area.
Yeah.
And then bodybuilders are like, oh, I could do this or this motion like for reps of 10, 20, 50 and like tear down my muscle fibers and eat a bunch of food and maybe take steroids if they're professional bodybuilders to get a certain aesthetic and a certain look.
Yeah.
So then, you know, bodybuilding made working out popular.
Yeah.
You know, so then fitness became popular and people started doing things that bodybuilders did because they made it mainstream.
Yeah.
And
that wasn't that long ago. It was like less than 6 years ago.
Yeah. I mean, when Arnold, you know, made bodybuilding really, really popular, definitely that was like you know, good in the 70s, 80s.
He still loves going to Venice.
He still loves going to Venice.
Because we see him at Gold. I used to work out at Gold's too. And he's there all the time.
Yeah, all the time, yeah.
What do you call it? Let's take it a step even further. We talked about running. I see you just started, or I don't know if you just started, but your stories and stuff, you've been barefoot running, like on the treadmills.
Yeah, I'll do the treadmill on the curved treadmill. Sometimes I'll do, I'm a pretty big, I mean, I do wear shoes when I go out and stuff. And I do wear shoes when I work out, but sometimes I try not to.
No. Just
to change it up and to get that extra layer of rubber out to be able to get more connection to like my body, my feet, to like the ground of impact. You know, it's like if you were bench pressing and you put a sponge every time you went to go bench press.
A sponge where? On your hand?
On your on your hand.
Yeah.
Before, like in between the bar.
Sure.
You're going to have a sense of disconnection there.
100%.
So like a shoe's a sense of disconnection.
That's a good analogy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just started doing these barefoot runs in these Glendale mountains and we have you heard of Vibram at all?
Yeah.
So Vibram sold
shoes,
the shoes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we just took the bottom off and we have like these barefoot sandals that this guy I work with at the gym kind of invented with this guy. His name is the name of the brand's Mazzatli. And we've been going and the first time I did it, my feet like couldn't handle it. And like now I used to have like knee, ankle, hip pain and all of a sudden it's like gone just from doing like months of just like these barefoot trails.
Damn.
It's crazy.
That is.
That's why I was curious to see like what you thought about it in the long run and stuff because like it's changed my life.
Yeah.
And the one thing that I do with like a ton of like clients now is just like, hey, take your shoes off. Like see what could vibe. How does your body feel? Because like a lot of people they don't touch the ground. Like even your socks, dude. When's the last time someone besides the beach? Are your shoes off?
Yeah.
You
know,
on
all the time.
I know, and it's like weird that shoes just got invented like not too long ago. I mean, in terms of like what we were talking about and the timeline of humanity.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, just all these things that are kind of making us more disconnected from who we should all really be. You know, our true selves.
Yeah.
In you know, primal form or our authentic form of ourselves. You know.
Is there any skill sets that you're trying to get better at right now? Like You said you just want to do prolonging, but like, for example, last year my goal was to hit 50 pull-ups straight in a row. Never did it. I hit 33, but it was the goal of trying to get there.
Yeah.
Like I'll try it again eventually.
Yeah.
But for you, do you have any like skill set or like, I don't know, like a
tangible goals that I want to hit?
Not necessarily a goal, like a skill, like a handstand or this and that.
I wouldn't say anything specifically. No, not really.
How did you get into all the Olympic lifting work?
I got into Olympic lifting. I started off just doing like power cleans in high school, maybe my sophomore, junior year. For football.
Yeah.
And then throughout college, I got more into it. And then after college, I got more into it. And then I started watching, naturally you start trying to get better at it, getting your form better, trying to lift heavier weights. So then you have to I never got a coach, but I would talk to, there's a few guys at the gym that were like pretty strong Olympic lifters that my buddy Maz, he's a very strong Olympic lifter and he does powerlifting too. So I would pick his brain and then we would talk about different lifters. So then I would YouTube all these different lifters and like see what type of form they would do and how they would do it and like what tendencies each lifter would have, and kind of just got into like Olympic lifting in terms of like an art. And I would like, there was like a period of time where like every night before I went to bed, I would watch like 20-30 minutes of Olympic lifting of like
art. In what way? I think it's one of the hardest movements I've ever learned, and I've only learned it like 4 years ago.
Yeah, I think it's like, I mean, a lot of people have said like Olympic weightlifting is like weightlifting in poetry or something like that, So your ability to like move your body around a bar to like get it up, because it's not about the muscle contraction, it's about like the performance of getting the weight overhead, right?
Yeah.
Clean and jerk or a snatch. And everyone does it a different way, but it's like, how does each person trains to do that is unique to themselves and their philosophy, and also like their body composition and their levers and how long their femurs are, how long their arms are.
Because everybody's body's different.
Everyone's different. So I kind of fell in love with like different techniques, and some people would do clean and jerk, like a normal jerk, split jerk, and then some people would do a squat jerk.
Okay, so I'm not too familiar with that. For a split jerk and a squat jerk, what's the purpose of the split jerk, and why is it more efficient versus a squat jerk?
It's just more people do it, I think. I mean, I'm not a professional Olympic lifter, and I haven't really watched a lot of videos in the last handful of years. It was more back in the day. But I think it's just more what you're comfortable with, Some people tend to do things a certain way, and some people do things a different way. Like I was watching Dmitry Klokov, and he just does a traditional split jerk. Okay. And he's very powerful at it. And then there's Chinese lifter Liu Xiaojin, if I didn't butcher his name, but he's a Chinese lifter, broke a lot of records, and he did a squat jerk. Okay. So he would just be in a position to right after the full clean, he would just drop on the bar, and both of his legs would be directly blown.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah. Dude, these Chinese lifters are insane. I watched the last Olympics and I was like, damn.
They're starting young,
Yeah.
They're starting young, and like it's just their training regimen. It's like that's all they do. They live and breathe and eat that,
It's weird because like, I mean, I don't even see like family members of mine in their PE classes, like in elementary school. Like it's not legit anymore. No. And I'm just like, I thought mine was legit. And then you see even videos of like 50, 60 years ago of like everyone doing pull-ups like at school. Yeah. What's your viewpoint on just like physical education, like growing up, like as kids, like how important is it, like just starting at an early age?
I think it's important to get outside and run and move your body and like burn calories and get endorphins and like feel the fresh air and fall sometimes, scrape your knees, like learn what that feels like.
Fall and scrape your knees. Why?
Yeah. Or just like, getting some sort of at an earlier age, some sort of like conflict in your life to where like something's uncomfortable
physically and
and then physically and then like mentally, you like you're learning to overcome it, and then you heal, and then like I think it's good to have some sort of contrast in your life at a younger age. Nothing crazy, but enough to be like, oh wow, like this does feel good, this doesn't feel good, this I want to move more towards, and this I don't,
sure,
because without adversity, I believe everyone that has an awesome story and that has like a lot of insight in life, or really quote unquote successful, they have been through some sort of adversity. So
what's your definition of success?
if you're happy and healthy.
Happy and healthy.
Yeah.
I agree. Mine was doing what you want to do, when you want to do it, with the people you want to do it with.
Yeah. It makes you happy.
Similar. Yeah.
But you have to be healthy too.
You have to be healthy. Yeah, that's the biggest thing. So I have like some clients.
Healthy, happy.
Yeah. I have some clients who are like very well off financially and they can't like walk with their kid on their vacation.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just like, that sucks.
Yeah.
You know, and that's kind of scary to me. And I'm just like, I don't want to ever have that problem like with my future kids or like X, Y, and Z. Because like at the end of the day, the only thing that you have is your body, right?
Yeah.
Like, and you can take anything else away from you. And I guess your body and your character, like who you are as a person.
For sure.
You know? Dude, how did you get into the fitness space? Like how did you become fit? Obviously you didn't start as being able to do these clapping muscle ups and shit.
So I started working out pretty consistently like my sophomore year in high school.
Okay. And you went to high school around here, California?
Yeah, in Oak Park.
Okay.
Which is suburbs of Los Angeles.
Okay. So you've been an LA boy for a while.
For a while, yeah. I went to college in San Diego.
Okay.
So
not too far away.
Not too far.
San Diego State?
Yeah, San Diego State. Yeah.
Did you like it there?
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, it was really fun. But yeah, I got into it through sports and I was like this pretty much the same height, maybe an inch shorter. I'm 6 foot. I was maybe like 5'11" when I was a sophomore, and I was just underweight as a football player.
Yeah.
So, and
135 as a football player, a sophomore is pretty light.
Very light.
Yeah. Even high school guys are big, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So I just, sorry, I wasn't 130. I was like 145.
Okay.
Yeah. But by the time I started like putting on weight, and I wanted to put on weight because my coaches were like, "You're too skinny. You got to put up more weight in the weight room. You have to get your weight up. You got this is football. You
what position did you play?
I started off playing defensive end because I started playing football late as a sophomore, and most people either play Pop 1 or a freshman, so I was already behind.
Oh, why did you want to start playing football so late? Like usually people start like early.
I just didn't know about it, and then like I'm like after my freshman year, like sophomore year, I'm like I want to play football. I had this urge. I was like I just want to play football.
And did you watch football?
I started watching football after I started playing,
and
then like studying the game. And then I was always a little self-conscious about like being skinnier too. So like that on top of like the coaches telling me to, and me knowing I needed to get better at football for it. So like I just kind of put a lot of my focus on gaining weight and working out and figuring out how to do that.
Yeah.
And like I got really good beginner gains within the first handful of months. I gained like 20 pounds.
Oh.
And that 20 pounds like
that's a real thing. Beginner gains are a real thing.
Yeah. That 20 pounds changed my life.
In what way?
Number one, I learned how to play football more. So that translated more to like actual strength on the field.
Sure.
My peers and friends were asking me advice now on how to gain weight and how to work out, because I knew how to work out more than most of them at this point. Because
your goal to gain this weight allowed you to develop these skills and research and X, Y, and Z to do so.
Yep. So then people were asking me like, okay, like can I work out with you? Like, what should I eat? Is this enough? So I was getting praise, and I was getting, external validation from my friends, and then also from girls too in high school.
How did that make you feel? Like, I
mean, it changed my life. So my coaches said, good job. My friends said, good job, like, help me out. And then I was getting attention from girls.
Yeah.
So in my mind, people would say like, how come you work out? And like, that's why I started, because I was just subconscious about being skinnier, and I wanted to be better football player. And then my whole life changed after that. So there wasn't any reason for me not to work out.
Yeah.
Like all the pros outweighed the cons like crazy
every day,
every single day, to where like eating a certain way and going to the gym and like destroying my body back then, and like working out 5 days a week was not a chore. It was like a privilege. I enjoyed it. I saw it as my way of paving my future.
Yeah.
Of like, this is how I'm going to like live my life and like continue to like dominate certain aspects of life, learn more about myself, push my body. I want to feel good. I want to look good. I want people to know that like I'm putting in the effort. I want to help other people put in the effort. So it just became this whole like, that's what I represent as a person,
And still to this day, I feel like working out is a privilege.
Yeah, it is.
Like the ability to
Go move your body.
Go move your body. Because a lot of people can't. Because every sick person, every immobile person wants to have one thing: to be mobile and healthy. Yeah. So you get good. You get better at football, and you get some muscle mass. How do you get into like the health space? Because I don't remember necessarily how I first found you like a while back. Did you used to do videos for Bradley Martin?
Yeah. So before that, how did I get in the fitness space? Okay, so before I started working with Brad, I was my first job at a college. Actually, during college too, I got hired on by my buddy and one of the owners of Gym Supplement Science, Mike McErlane. Okay. And he
met at a 24-hour fitness, right?
Yeah, we met at a 24-hour fitness, and he was using these bands that he co-created with this one of his friends.
And you're using them like differently, right?
I was using them in a way that it was different. And I'm like, hey, we have the same bands. He's like, oh, I actually helped create these bands. I'm like, no way, what do you do? He's like, oh, I'm in the fitness industry. And back then he worked for Muscle Fitness. Okay. And he was running all the media at that point, and then he would run the Olympia. So then I just kind of like, oh, that's like, I don't really know anyone that works in the fitness industry. And you're into working out, and you told me you played college football and now you're in the fitness industry. That's pretty awesome. I think I would like to do something like that. I mean, he wasn't an athlete by any means in terms of like social media, because there was no social media then. He was more on the business side.
So this is like literally right after college.
This is during college. Yeah. Okay. And I told him, hey, if you ever need a videographer, that's what I do. I'm not, I play football and I'm an athlete and I run track, but like I want to get into videography more and make money from it.
Did you know videography at the time?
Yeah. I started backtrack. I started doing videography when I was like 10, 11 in middle school.
How did you get into that?
This podcast is going to go. I'm like all over the place in my life because I'm like,
it's fine.
There's a lot of things in my life that I'm passionate about. So there's different aspects in my life, like, Olympic lifting. There's like a 2-year period where I'm like, was 100%. Super into it. So there's different areas in my life where I get really into different things. Yeah. And I used to BMX bike ride. Yeah. And then I started filming videos because my friends were into photography and filming then. So we would just film each other bike riding. Yeah. And doing tricks and like going to skate parks and all that stuff. Sure. And then I knew I was pretty good at it after I filmed a video. It took us 2 days. We went all around LA and different parts of SoCal. And we made this awesome video of my friend Andrew Jackson.
In elementary school, you did this?
No, this was middle school. I was like 12. He was older than me. He was like 18.
How did you get access to like these cameras at the time? Because I feel like those were still relatively new.
It was so I filmed on like just a single CCD, which back then it was like CCD, which is like how many sensors. The camera had like a 3 CCD, which was like a way higher quality. Sure. So I had like just a normal camcorder that like had a cassette in it, and I would just use that until my friend invested into like a really nice camera that cost a few $1,000, and then I would just film with his camera, and then we filmed a bunch of videos, and then that video we made within 2 days, posted on the internet. Before social media, it was a forum on the Come Up, and it got like it got like 30,000 views in I think a couple days. And back then,
forum on the Come Up, was it a website or something?
It was a BMX forum. Okay. And it went viral on the forums.
No way.
And he got sponsored off that video. So I'm like, sick. Oh, damn, you're really good at BMX, but I'm pretty good at videography. So then but then as I was doing videography, I was, started to play football. So then I was like juggling these two different things. Yeah. That's how I got into videography. And then, in college, I'm like, all right, how do I make money from this? And then that's when I started talking to Mike, and he's like, oh, if I ever need you, I have a videographer now, but if I need you, I'll let you know. And then a couple of years later, he's like, hey, like, you're done with college now. I need a videographer. You could start working for me. So
isn't it crazy how life works out like that you just met this guy who you guys talked about videography, and like you had the skill and you just kind of put yourself out there and talk to him?
That's how life is, though. Yeah. It's just there's little things and conversations and moments that, like, if you didn't take a car ride, or you didn't go to the gym one day, or you didn't go to the grocery store, or like any of these random things that are just so normal things that you might do on a day-to-day basis or monthly basis, that like you might meet someone or have a conversation or have a thought that will shift your entire life. So your life can change at any point in your life. Yeah. So whether you want it to or not. Yeah. So you have the ability to like change the direction.
With each decision you have.
Exactly. You have a set course, but the course can always change.
Sure.
Or you can just stay on course forever, and it's up to you. So
do you think about that a lot?
In terms of think about what? Like the course of my life?
No, the decision making, or like one experience that could like literally switch like that. I don't know. I guess for this 24-hour fitness example, it's like, oh, like if I didn't go to the gym today, like I wouldn't have met this guy, and then I wouldn't have landed this videography job. I don't know. I think about that once in a while.
I don't think I think so much of, oh, like every day I need to like meet someone new, or like I think I'm mindful of it.
Yeah.
And
I don't think that's necessarily what I meant about just like meeting people. I just meant life experiences.
Yeah, I definitely like value people and life experiences, and like connecting with people, and you never know what you're gonna do in your day that's gonna make you have a different thought to like change the trajectory of your life, because like your whole life starts with like mental bandwidth and your thought, your ability to process information, and also like have a decision to say like I'm gonna do this, and then after your mind thinks it up, then you like if I want to pick this up, it's because my brain told me to. I'm like, all right, and then now physically I'm picking it up, and then now like the can's going.
Now you're doing it.
Working out's the same. It's like a mental decision, but also like living a certain lifestyle is the same. Changing your body, like if you want to like live in a different area, if you want to make more money, it's like a mental decision you have to make, and then like being able to follow up with that every single day until you get it.
Where did you get that mindset from?
I think I got the mindset from my first passion, obviously from just working out. Working out taught me a lot of like, okay, like you don't have something, you work hard enough at it, and you get like resources, you learn information, or you read some books, you talk to people, and you apply it, you could change the outcome of this aspect in your life. So I'm like, all right, if you can do it working out through just hard work and dedication because you want it bad enough,
you could do it for anything.
You could do it for anything. You just have to want it bad enough.
Dang. I think that's so deep into like the fitness space, because like a lot of people, they just go to the gym and they go through the movements and they decide to get better at the things, but like to treat it as a philosophy for life is super meaningful.
Yeah, I think I try to have like a meaningful life, and I know a lot of people don't. They feel like they don't because they don't. Most people, it's sad, but it's the reality. Most people are not happy with their lives, and maybe they're not happy with their physical health. They're not happy with the work they do. They're not happy with their friends they have in their life in terms of like everything. It's like a full circle of like most people are not truly fulfilled.
What's your advice to those people? Because there's a lot of them out there, and at the end of the day, we want to have more happy and healthy people in the world.
Everyone has the ability to change, and if you want it, and like just know that like if you are in a position where you want to change an aspect of your life, no matter how bad you have it, there's always someone worse off.
Yeah,
always. And there's always someone better off.
Yeah.
So like giving yourself perspective can give you a little bit of
both ways.
Both ways, exactly. Yeah. Is a good tool that I use. And just knowing that like you can improve your life, and it's like it comes down to like how bad do you want that, and what does that look like for you? And if that vision that you have for yourself looks better than your current life, then you want it bad enough, you're going to find a way. But
figure out the steps.
But if you have a vision and it's not as enticing and you don't want it that bad, then you're going to stay in your current situation, you know, in any aspect of your life.
Yeah.
So I think it's just making yourself so uncomfortable to where like you're forced to change.
Yeah. And a gym is just a direct correspondent to that. It's like, I am uncomfortable because this is hard.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
So back to you meeting Mike, right?
Yeah.
At 24. And I guess we're getting into how you got into the health space. You started becoming his videographer after college?
Yeah, became his videographer. He had a site back then called Workout Trainer. And then he was saying, hey, I'm going to start the supplement company with Jim Stepani. And then they launched it in 2013.
And this is called Jim?
JYM, yeah.
JYM?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they launched it, did amazing. It was the best selling brand on bodybuilding.com for a couple years.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
It was, it was a humongous company. And it still is a huge company. But they blew up back then. And that was my intro to it, and I helped shoot a lot of the educational videos in the beginning, so I learned a lot about supplementation and dosaging and like ingredients and the combination of ingredients and the synergy of ingredients in a pre-workout and like what you should or shouldn't have.
What should you have for pre-workout? Like, is there a healthy like dosage of caffeine?
That's, I think, depends on your body weight and like obviously your tolerance. But from what I learned back then, the biggest thing, and it's changed, the industry has changed. Back then, all the pre-workouts were proprietary blends, meaning like the scooper size would be like 5 or 10 or 12 grams, and they would have like 15, 20 ingredients in it, but they would never list how much of each ingredient was in that bottle of pre-workout.
Yeah.
So you'd just be like, oh, I'm getting this pre-workout, it's awesome. And you'd feel the caffeine because it would have probably 300 milligrams of caffeine, but you know, they would have creatine in it, they'd have beta-alanine in it, they have betaine in it, but in dosages where it wouldn't even affect your body in terms of like the clinical dose.
Yeah.
Gym was the first company to come out to be able to say, hey, like that scooper size is 5 grams or 10 grams. Ours is 26.5 grams, and here's why. Full dosage of branched chain amino acids, full dosage of creatine hydrochloride, full dosage of citrulline malt, full dosage of betaine, beta-alanine, full dosage of huperzine A. So all these things were at full dosage, so they came together and actually worked rather than just taking a bunch of the same ingredients, but like at a dose that's like a tenth of it.
That does not, I guess, get the full serving of it, right?
And you're not,
it's not doing much for you.
It's not doing much for you. All you're feeling is the caffeine, and you're like, oh, I think it's working.
And you get the tingly feeling from the beta-alanine.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. And that feeling makes you feel like it's doing something for you.
Exactly. So that's, in terms of pre-workouts, you just need something that's dosed correctly.
Go get gym supplements, use Kev's code.
Yeah. Code K-Love, yeah. So, yeah. The education behind it really taught me like how like building a business can be based off of creating products that you're passionate about and that you can just educate people on.
And that people need, right?
And that people want.
Why not need?
I think people need the right information and the clarification, but like we live in a society where it's like consumerism is so big, you don't need a lot of things.
Sure.
We don't technically need shoes, but there's a huge
well,
business around it.
We don't need a like 1,000 pair of shoes that people have.
You don't need caffeine to work out,
100%.
But it's great.
Yeah.
Like technically you don't need clothes, but society says like, okay, you have to have clothes. Okay. So like, do we need the pre-workout? No. Do you want it? Because it makes you, the experience of the taste is great. It makes you perform better, and it makes you your ability to like create or have your goals reach that much faster and more enjoyable. Yeah. But I don't think I think
that's an interesting perspective, because a lot of people say find a niche in business where people need your product, when at the end of the day, that makes sense. It's like what you want.
I think that's an aspect of saying it. I'm not going to say that that's bad.
Yeah.
I think another form of business and marketing is like make them educate them and show them why they want the product. Not need it, but want it really bad.
Yeah, convenience is a big thing too.
Yeah,
for sure. Like for example, if there's a dry cleaner, so it's like, I'll get it to you in 2 hours.
Yeah,
like I'll pay the premium because they're going to get it to you right away.
For sure,
it's super convenient. And you might not necessarily need it in 2 hours, but some people might.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're learning all these things about supplements and business, and like so that's how you got in.
That's how I got into the industry. And then as I was working with Mike, I was like watching YouTube and stuff, and
YouTube University, man.
I was watching YouTube, and these YouTubers back then, I was like Rich Piana, and then Mike Rashid.
R.I.P. dude.
I know, R.I.P. to Rich Piana, Mike Rashid, Bart Kwan, and Barbell Brigade, because I used to watch Bart's comedy videos when I was.
He's hilarious.
And I've told him this when every time I see him, I'm like, hey, I used to watch your comedy videos, and then that's how I got in. That's how I found out more about powerlifting through you. Oh, and then
you got into powerlifting through Bart, kind of.
I wouldn't say through Bart. It was a combination of like football and then like YouTube videos. Some of his videos, some of Mike O'Hearn's videos back in the day, and then I saw Bradley Martin in Bart's barbell videos, and then I'm like, who's this guy doing Olympic lifts?
Michael O'Hearn, isn't that a bodybuilder? Isn't he a bodybuilder?
Yeah, he's like a super strong bodybuilder, powerlifter.
Oh, he does powerlifting too?
Yeah.
My buddy just made, he was just on the podcast, he made a sword for Mike O'Hearn.
Oh, nice.
So he does these leverage swords that, do you watch anime at all?
No, I don't.
So there's this, there's this anime show that there's a character named Guts, and he has this big sword, and he started building these live, like, 10-foot swords that are 20 pounds, and they're using as leverage similar to like a mace. Right? And so he went viral. He's making a living off just selling these swords.
That's awesome.
And everyone at Venice Beach is buying them. He's sold a couple to Brazil. Like, and he used to work at Stretch Lab in Venice, and he just quit his job. He's just selling these swords all over the world. And he made a gold one for Mike Owen. And Mike's about to like just use it in a video or something. It's cool.
That's awesome.
A little tangent, but and is that basically, how did you get into videography, like, for Brad and everything
so
else?
I saw him, and I'm like, who's this guy lifting all these weights, but like still like a jacked bodybuilder, but like lifts like an Olympic lifter, because he used to do a lot of crazy lifts. Brad.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
I've never seen him do an Olympic movement. That's crazy.
Yeah, he used to do Olympic lifting. Yeah, so he did that when he was younger, and then I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like, you know, that's when I was getting more into Olympic lifting too. So it was like a very interesting for me to see like someone, because he was like super jacked then, and he's still jacked, still a big dude, but like to be able to move like that.
And this was in LA somewhere?
This is in LA. I was watching him on videos, Barbell Brigade's videos back then, and then I ended up meeting him in person.
Bart or Brad?
Both, but Brad, and then we connected, and he had a videographer at the time, and the same thing. I'm like, hey, if you ever need anything, like, let me know. And then so cool. He hit me up later. He's like, hey, I kind of need a videographer, and I'm in a situation. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So then I just started filming for him, and then we filmed together off and on for like maybe like 4 years. Yeah.
How was that experience?
It was good. I had a lot of I learned a lot about social media. I learned a lot about growing a YouTube channel. So when we started, like, because I was the main videographer for him for like those years, and I think when we started, we were at a couple 100,000, and we got it up to like, what was it, like over 2 million.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So obviously YouTube's changed.
Sure.
In that same way we did it.
Changed in what way?
The algorithm, now the shorts, like everything's changing always. Social media. So
how do you keep up with everything?
I don't.
You don't?
Yeah.
Or I guess, how did you back then?
I don't know. You just do what you think is the best, and then if it's not working, you change it.
You pivot.
Yeah. And you talk to someone else. Oh, this is working for you, let me try that.
Yeah.
So you just gotta like want to do better.
Yeah.
And like the information's out there, you just gotta seek it.
What did you study in college?
I went to college to play football.
Okay.
So I majored in sociology.
Okay. Me too.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Sociology. It was like an easy enough degree. So I'm like, you know what, I'll do it.
I was like, how do I get past this?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So.
Well, like, I don't know where your parents are from, but mine are like immigrant parents, and my mom's from Laos, my dad's from the Philippines, and my whole family wanted me to be a doctor, lawyer, engineer growing up, like simple Asian household.
Yeah.
And when I said, I was like, yeah, I think I'm gonna stay out here and just like be personal trainer and bartender. They're like, what are you doing?
So like, what do you mean? No doctor?
And I was just like, for me, I felt like chasing my curiosities was something that I always wanted to do. Like, I wanted to be a professional golfer for the longest time.
Yeah.
And I chased that to the point where like I knew for a fact I wasn't going to be a professional golfer. I was like, I will never regret this. And I kept trying until I didn't. And I got some like slack from my family back at the time. But like for me, the most fulfilling feeling that I have and super confident about is like always do what you want to do and be curious about the things and get better at them. And I guess for you, like, did you have a plan after like football was over? Like, was football your identity and your end all be all at one point?
I definitely wanted to play professional, but then after I realized I
similar, right?
Yeah, I wasn't going to do that. Then I'm like, all right, how am I going to like, because if I'm not going to play pro sports and make money, how am I going to make money? So my last year of college, my senior year, I didn't play. That's when like everything shifted. That's when I'm like, all right, I need to get back into video.
You decided not to play? Or you could have played?
I got kind of let go from the team. It was like this long story from my position coach, and he had like these recruits coming in, and like, I didn't willingly leave. I was kind of forced off the team, yeah.
And it was probably a blessing in disguise now looking back.
For sure, 100%, yeah. The route I would have taken, and everything happens for a reason, Yeah. So, yeah, then I had the mindset to be able to... Well, I had the bandwidth because I had now, like, instead of 40 or 50 hours a week of football and weights and film and all that stuff, I have free time. So then I just started working out for myself instead of the football team. And then I started associating myself not just with athletes, but like with entrepreneurs and people building businesses and stuff. So then In college.
How did you do that? I guess associate yourself with
I met different people at the gym, and then I just would pick people's brains and stuff, and I just see what people are doing. Yeah. And it's conversation. Yeah. Like, what do you do? How do you do? Okay, how's that for you? Awesome. And then, you know, one thing leads to the next. But yeah, that's when I'm like, all right, I have to make money some other way. Yeah. So let me brush up on my videography skills. Let me start my little production company. Back then it was called KLO Productions. I had a website and everything, and then I started filming weddings, and then.
Oh, no way. So you did every aspect of videography.
Yeah. And then I did like real estate, and then after a while I was done with all that. I'm like, I don't really like doing weddings. I'm not passionate about it. I'm not passionate about shooting real estate. Then I'm like, well, that's when the fitness thing came. And then Mike was like, hey, you're done with college now. So when I graduated, come work with me. So then instead of doing all these random jobs, I just had one thing to focus on.
What's the importance of just focusing on one thing?
It's super important for sure. Where your focus goes is like, and where energy goes is where it's going to like come to fruition, you know?
Do you think...
And I've definitely in my life spread myself thin a lot of times. So I know the contrast of like when I have 3, 4, 5 different things going on and versus 1 or 2 and how much productivity I have. But also setting up like guidelines and having intentions on a daily basis to where like what you're actually going to do and like get done.
Today's day and age, information is so available to us.
Super, yeah.
And so we could Google something and figure it out a lot more efficiently than before.
Yeah.
And do you believe that, I could start this business, I could train for this thing, I could X, Y, and Z and grow all of them versus this is the one thing that I'm going to do and get good at it?
You could do both. But if you're focusing on 3 things or 4 things... can you do all 3 or 4 things very effectively? Yes. But would you grow that one thing that's maybe on the top of the list effectively if you were just focused on that one thing? Yes. So it's like, is your goal to grow all of them like pretty equally and like maybe like a little bit slower pace? Or would you rather just focus on one and sacrifice all these areas in your life, other business, maybe you sacrifice your mental health for a little bit. Maybe you sacrifice your financial health. Maybe you sacrifice sleep. Maybe you sacrifice your time with your friends, you know, your leisure time to grow that one thing. So it's all about like what sacrifice makes sense or that you want to make this one thing grow or the lack of sacrifice to make the 4 things grow.
Sure.
So it's like what life you want. What do you want bad enough right now?
It's definitely possible. I think it's possible, but back to the spreading yourself too thin, I think people get burned out as well. It's like, and then they hit a wall and they're like, I don't know, because getting good at something takes a long time to do. And I feel like a lot of people stop at the point of like, oh, this is the fun, exciting part of like building a business.
Yeah.
And then they're like, they get some confrontation, some conflict. They're like, that's a problem solve. And then they figure it out. And then another big problem comes up and like, this one's too hard, I'm going to stop. And I feel like with a lot of different things, the problems kind of like take over, and versus if you only have that one thing, you have no other options. Like you can't bounce from one thing to another.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
100%. I agree with that. And yeah, when you have the ability to go somewhere else, then you might go to that other aspect
because
of your life.
Seems easier at the time.
But if that's the only thing that you're getting fulfillment from, or that's the only thing that you know how to do, I know people that like are really good at one thing and like they're not even passionate about it, but they're just so good at it because they've been doing that one thing for so long, so consistent that they get good at it, and then they do start like reaping the benefits of whatever they're trying to create.
But they don't like it.
Maybe they don't love it, but then they learn to love it over time in terms of what it can create for their life. And I'm talking about business in terms of business and like money, because you know a lot of our life is based off of money and financial health and financial freedom and mental health. And mental health comes from being physically healthy, but being in a state to where you're not thinking of like
food on the table
and like how am I going to pay for like my rent or my mortgage next month, or how am I going to do this or that. If you don't have to think about that stuff, then your ability to have clarity and like mental bandwidth to be creative and to create other things based off of like fulfillment and like what makes me feel good, your ability to live a better and healthier, more balanced lifestyle is a lot higher.
Because I feel like, yeah, the creativity space to like be open-minded to start these businesses and everything. It's like, you need income. You have to live, you have to have that freedom to do that.
Yes.
And like, so I've worked in hospitality for a long time, and I've seen the thing that you said of like comparing yourself to the people below you and above you, just so you have a better perspective of your life. I would see like these maids at like the hotels that I worked at who have like 5 or 6 kids, and like they are working 60 to 80 hours a week, not like making the money that like a server or a bartender will make, and I'm just like, wow, like I'm so blessed at this point. But also they don't have the ability to be creative. They're providing for their whole family and slaving away, and it really puts life in perspective. Like, yo, you're lucky you have the ability to film a podcast and just talk to like cool people, or go work out because you have the time to build your body.
For sure.
So you were Brad's videographer, and I guess like how did you switch into like the business space and like I guess doing your own thing with I guess I don't really know what's up with Kalo Cars, like
that's just like an Instagram page, and it's like for fun.
Oh, it's just for fun?
Yeah.
It's not like a business or anything?
No, it's not a business.
Okay.
No. It's more of a hobby.
Okay. Or the Kangen Water?
Kangen, yeah.
Kangen Water?
So I started, it's funny, when I was like my last year in college, I got involved with Kangen in terms of like buying the product and using it. And then shortly after that, less than a year, 6 months after I started drinking the water, I started selling the product because of what it did for like my own health. And like what I saw, what it did for my body. And I wouldn't say I transitioned from videography to business. Mm-hmm. It was like my last year in college, my senior year, it was like business and like business into videography and starting my production company. Mm-hmm. And then having a machine then, and then I'm like, okay, maybe I'll start selling these later. So like as I was doing videography mm-hmm. and doing the production thing and doing weddings, I had my Kangen Water machine.
Okay.
And then after I moved back to LA, I stopped all like the clients in terms of like the weddings and stuff, and I just started working with JYM mm-hmm. and filming all the supplement videos, and that was like my first technical job I had. I was like employed by, but while I was doing that, I had the free time to build my Kangen Water business. So I saw that as an opportunity to make a lot of change in this world, eliminate plastic water use, help people change their water into like
we're going to talk after.
Yeah. About,
as we have plastic water bottles on.
Yeah. So it's just like, I saw this whole like positive, and then the ability of money you could make residually and like build a business. I'm like, wow, like residual income, mm-hmm.
Creating
a business that like can make you money even after you stop working because of all the systems you put in place. That sounds pretty awesome. Yeah. So as I was filming, I was still building my business with Kangen Water, and I was doing this through like the people I was working with, my buddy Anthony at the time, and then our mentors, and our mentors have been in the business since 2006 mm-hmm. and they've been making a lot of money since back then. So I knew it was something that was here to stay. It was gonna continue to grow, and it's been growing every single year since I've been a part of the company, and till this day.
It's a product that you believe in too, because like it's so into like health.
Exactly.
Like for example, I don't know, like I did Amway for a long time.
Okay.
And I did Cutco.
Yeah, so you're very familiar with direct sales and
I know what you're talking
about.
Yeah, and Cutco was like a product that I was like,
you believed in.
I believe in.
I have a couple of those knives.
Yeah.
My mom bought them for my friend, and then like I remember I'd use them in when I was in high school, and I'm like, these are really great knives.
They're really great. And so like products speak for themselves, right? Yes. So like if this water has done so much good for you, like it could help other people.
Why not share it? Right?
Why not share it? So, and it's not necessarily a sales thing. It's like, yo, if you buy this, you will be healthier.
Yeah.
Period.
It's sharing.
It's sharing.
It's sharing based off of your own experience and being authentic, mm-hmm. and then like sharing out of passion, and then so your ability to share ends in maybe a sale, and the sale is a transaction that creates revenue for the company and puts money in your pocket and helps someone else out.
Yeah.
And if you teach someone how to do that, then you can put money in their pocket and put money in your pocket. If you could teach someone how to do that times 10 times 100, you can make more money. If you can do that times 1,000, you can make a lot of money, you know?
Yeah.
So your ability, I think that's any product, any service, any company, your ability to scale, duplicate, and believe in the product, and teach people how to believe in the product, and have that ripple effect of like being able to instill that in the people that like you talk to. Mm. You can have a company that represents authenticity and grow a company based off of just pure value of like what you believe in.
Yeah. Why do you think that there's such a like negative stigma to like
MLM
sales or MLM too? I mean, you know, because there is.
Because I think when you think about sales,
but sales is such a big part of our life. Like we buy something every single day.
You're applying for college, you're selling yourself on like why you should get in that college. You're applying for a job, you're selling yourself. You know, it's like if you have a business and a startup and you're like, you need funding, you're selling yourself and the company on why this investor should invest. So like your ability to sell is a very important aspect of your life, to be able to like build relationships, to make money, to there's a lot of things, you know? Yeah, I think there's a negative connotation to it because a lot of people think of salesmen as selling you things that you don't need and you don't want. And like sleazy car salesmen or like sleazy salesmen that like sell you products that are bogus, that like they're just in it to make money. Because when you sign up for a sales job and you wouldn't do that act.
What do you mean you wouldn't do that act?
Like if you're just like, oh, I'm going to sell like something that I don't really believe in the value of the product, but I'm just doing because I need the money, rather than like, I would talk about this product regardless. And the fact I get to make money from it is a bonus. I'm going to do it more. Yeah. So I think there's more people that do the sales for money.
Well, people do it every day, right? Yeah. Like, for example, it's like, I love this movie. You have to go see it.
Exactly.
Right? You just sold this person on watching this movie.
Exactly.
And it's the same thing. It's just, but people don't see it that way.
No, yeah. So I think sales gets a negative rap because like it's people don't want to, because there's obviously a negative connotation towards like money in this world sometimes, you know, like of like.
No, that's why I'm kind of shocked that you just you said that, because like a lot of people don't like talking about money.
No.
And the people who do, sometimes I guess the big financial people on YouTube talk about money all the time. You read the comments, 80% of it's like, why are you talking about how much money you're making and this and that, you know? Why do you think that is? Why do you think when money's such a big part of our lives, why is everyone like, why are you talking about that?
I think people act on fear, and they also act on what they don't know. So if it's something that's not familiar, a lot of people that aren't like maybe developing certain aspects in their life and educated, they'll get fearful and they'll put their guard up and be like, that's not right. Like, why are you trying to push something down my headspace? I don't want to learn this. This is bogus, because they don't know what's better for them in that aspect in life, you know? So I think people
fear too, because it's probably uncomfortable. It's like, I don't know that much about this.
Yeah.
Therefore, I'm going to close up.
Exactly. Like a lot of people that are overweight, they don't know that much about health. And when someone tells them like, maybe you should change your diet or move a little bit more and lose weight, they're like, oh no, like I'm fine. Like, because they don't know. They don't know better, so they can't do better. But once you know better and you apply it and you know it, you realize that it could help your life and bring you more value, then you'll do better. Yeah. But most people don't even like, they don't have the opportunity to like get to that headspace to make that decision to change your life, you know?
Yeah, it's weird because, I mean, we'll just talk about fitness. Like, I know that to build muscle mass, I'm just like, hey, just get your body weight in protein and like this and that. And I just think of it as common knowledge. But when like someone who doesn't know,
they have no idea.
They're just like, really?
Yeah.
And I just think it's normal. Yeah. But it's normal to me because I've just been in my life for so long. And when to others, it hasn't been in their life at all.
Exactly.
And it's just to have that open-mindedness when you're having another conversation with someone who knows something that you don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's just, what you don't know until you try it, and you might really like it, you know? Like some people who never worked out, like, hey, you want to go to Gold's Gym in Venice? They're like, I don't want to be around a bunch of really big bodybuilders, but then you go there, it's like, oh, there's other people there that aren't just meatheads, and like there's regular people there, and there's
yogis fitness there.
Yeah, exactly. There's everything. So I think it's the perception of what someone has about anything, about money, about fitness, about a certain type of lifestyle, like methodology, whatever, right? Some people that don't know, it's easier for them to not take it in and not learn it and just say like, oh, that's not for me, or it's not good, than to like, let me actually like learn about this and like see what it could do for my life.
Where did you get that open-mindedness from?
I think the open-mindedness for me, everyone's different. For me, it was my ability and want, like it was my desire to want to do better. So like I wanted to do better in life. I wanted to create a life for myself. I wanted to, change my body. I wanted to make more money. I wanted to like live a certain life to where it was like a life by design of, this is the life I want to create for myself. And in order to create this life for myself, I have to be open-minded to new things, to be able to take in new information that I don't already have to make my life what I want to be it, to what I want it to be. So I think the open-mindedness was always pretty easy for me, because I was open-minded, and I relate this to working out, because that was the first thing that I was open to that like changed my life. Yeah. And it wasn't like, I didn't like grow up working out, like from the age of 6 or 7. I learned when I was a sophomore in high school, and I was open to it because I wanted to get better at sports. I wanted to not be self-conscious about my weight.
But say you have like a coach or someone you're talking to at the gym, and they're giving you advice, this and that. Obviously you don't want to take everything in and be like, not everyone's right. So how do you have the discernment to be like, okay, I'm going to try this movement and not try that movement?
I think you take everyone's advice for what it is. And everyone's body and life and genetics and like all that is different. So like what works for someone is not always going to work for you. It might not. So I think you have to be your own best judge in terms of like how it's going to affect your life. And like, you have to try different things, and it might not be good for you, or it might be good for you, but then at least you tried it and you could move on to the next thing to add to your life, to make your life better.
Yeah. At the end of the day, you trying, for a fact that you're like, okay, I can move on. That didn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah. What gave you the courage, dude, to, I guess, put yourself on the internet and post yourself doing pull-ups and all these things? Because for me, it took me a long time. I mean, I really don't even do too much. I never had an issue, the lack of courage of posting online, I think, because the last time I was like insecure about like my body was a sophomore in high school. And after I achieved the body that I wanted and performance that I wanted, I'm like, oh, this is like, I'm proud of it. So I don't mind showing it off, because I know like the hard work I put in, and I know like it could positively affect other people too. So why wouldn't I do it? So like my greatest hurdle was the hurdle sophomore year, gaining weight, playing football, and changing my life. And everything else that is like easy, because like that discomfort. So you haven't had a fallen off at all? Like you've kept like the body performance you've had ever since that?
I mean, it's in terms of like different performance has been different, because there's been times where I'm like 170 and there's been times where I'm closer to 200. Yeah. But in terms of like my mindset of working out, it's been pretty constant. I don't think I've had there's different goals that change over time, but I've been consistently working out since I was 15 or 16. Yeah. So 15 years.
What's your advice to people about consistency, not just in working out, but in life? Like, how do you develop that consistent habit of doing it over and over again? Because like at the end of the day, you do some bicep curls or you do some pull-ups. The next day, you're not going to have biceps and lats. Yeah. And then the day after that, you're going to look the same every day in the mirror.
Fall in love with the process. Yeah. Find a way, make a way to fall in love with it. So when I fell in love with it, I'm like, I'm not in love with the gym or working out because I go in my basement and there's no lights and no music and I'm just in the mirror, like just working out by myself. Okay. I love it because I get to go to these different gyms now. Before it was like all like the rec center. I was playing basketball. We'd like shoot the shit with my friends there, and then I would work out, and I would work out with my buddies, and then we would have different conversations, and we'd be like hanging out on the gym floor and pushing each other and like cracking jokes and like sweating, but also laughing. And then really like getting into each other and like testing our physical limits. And then like, when you're at the gym, you meet girls too. So I'm like, why would I never not go to the gym? This is like a party every time. Every time I go to the gym, it's like, I feel like it's like an amazing time. Wow. Not always. Sure. Obviously there's days where it's like less that it's just yourself. Yeah. But like initially, like I look forward to going to the gym because I look forward to at the end of the day, everything in your life comes down to the people in your life, and like what the conversations you're having and how those people make you feel. Yeah. So when I was going to the gym, the people that I went with or the people I saw there made me feel good. That's why you go back. Like you never really, 20 years from now, you're not going to exactly you're not going to remember exact words that we're having on this podcast, but you might remember how you felt that day. Sure. So feelings last forever. Yeah. So like, chase feelings in terms of how it makes you feel and integrate ways to make yourself feel good doing that thing. So I integrated ways, meaning like I had these connections in my mind to where like, this is fun, this is enjoyable. So like, let's keep that vibe going in the gym. So I keep going to the gym.
Because that's the perception that you have of working out. Yeah. It's a happy, good feeling. When there's a lot of people in this world who they think about gym, they're like, that sounds awful.
Yeah. And I get it. Cause like they haven't had the experience of like changing
community
their body, or
too.
community yet, or changing their body yet. But like for me, I've had the community, I've changed my body, I've gained weight, I've lost weight. I've met previous girlfriends from the gym. I met Mike at the gym. Mm-hmm. My first videography job. I've 100%. Met other business partners we've done other ventures at the gym.
At the gym.
So the
gym's a special place.
Yeah. Like, why wouldn't I go, you know?
Yeah. If you had to choose one movement that is the most important for overall health and fitness, what would it be?
One movement?
One movement. I'll give you mine after you think about yours.
Up there, it'd have to be sprinting for sure. Because
Okay.
if you could sprint and like sprint effectively, you're gonna gain muscle in your core. Not crazy upper body, but like your legs are gonna get developed, and like you're gonna have a functional physique that you're gonna feel good. But in terms of weightlifting, it'd be some sort of like full body like movement, like thruster or something.
So I think a kettlebell swing.
Yeah.
Is it? Because you could get your heart rate up.
Yep.
And you're activating your grip strength,
yeah,
your glutes,
yeah,
your core,
yeah,
your shoulders.
Yeah.
The only thing you're like neglecting is kind of like your chest muscles, but you could squeeze at the top kind of.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my full one. I'm just so interested because like the sword guy was talking about dead hangs.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that's true too.
Yeah.
Like grip strength's a huge thing. And
yeah.
It's interesting because a lot of people, if they could just choose one movement to do consistently, like if you tell someone just wake up every morning and do push-ups, or wake up every morning and hang, like a lot of people are a creature of habit, and like it takes 5 minutes. So if you could find one thing that you like to do that's quick, you know, and that will develop, hey, go walking or running every single day, you know, I believe that's a start.
Yeah, for sure.
To a fitness journey.
100%.
You know, what are you most excited for in your life right now?
All the new opportunities coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you allowed to say anything? Like any cool new opportunities that you're allowed to share?
I'm at a point in my life where like, I've been shifting my career in terms of like my mental bandwidth of like what I want to do next for the next like 5 years of my life. But like this year is like a year of,
discovery, maybe?
More research, more feeling out, like putting out feelers in terms of like working with new people and new industries and new projects and new ideas. So all things that like will come to fruition through time. And it's kind of like, it's a period of like more mental growth than like actual financial growth right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there any like specific categories that you're excited to work with?
I'd say it's pretty even across the board. So like we have our convention for Enagic, which is the Kangen Water company, which is what we were just talking about, next month in July. And it's the business I was super passionate about. I put a lot of energy into it from like 2015 to 2018. And in the last handful of years, I've took my foot off the gas and just kind of been coasting and just doing bare minimum in terms of like anyone that needed help on my team, I would be on a call or whatever I could do to help, but I wasn't outwardly like looking to recruit and like build my business. So that's one aspect I'm really excited about. I'm excited going to the convention there to see all these new people that are really successful in the company and like get new insight. So I plan to make a push in that business, give another, like I'd say a year or two push to be able to like set up the rest of my life. Yeah. That's one aspect. And then another aspect is potentially a supplement company that I have been talking about with one of my friends for a little while now. So be a supplement company based off of bridging the fitness industry and the wellness industry into one, which, you know, I kind of touched on earlier. Which
Can you explain like what the wellness community is?
Wellness is more like vitamins, nutrients, minerals, and like fitness is more like fats, carbs, and calories and like protein. So the things that you change to make your body look a certain way, where like wellness is more like the things that I'm putting in my body to like make sure I feel good and have longevity for the next 10, 20, 30 years.
What you put in your body, guys, if you guys are listening out there, is what's going to change your body more dramatically than any type of workout. Would you agree?
Yeah. For sure. So you gotta, it takes two, you know, both things to be able to like live a good quality of life, movement, but also like what you put in your body.
What do you enjoy most about driving fast cars?
The whole car thing for me is like, that's another childhood passion that came into my life and at a young age, like elementary school.
Really?
Yeah.
You can't really like drive at elementary school.
No,
though.
but I was like looking at cars, and like I started playing video games in middle school, racing cars. And then like I always had like, my sister was 10 years older. So her friends, like there's a couple of friends that had like nicer cars that like would put money into their cars. And I was thought it was so cool.
Yeah.
And then when Fast and the Furious 1 came out in early 2000s, and it was 99 or 2000, 2001 in that area.
That was a stellar movie.
It's an awesome movie. Yeah.
I got a RX-8. I got an RX-8 for my second car.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And the RX-7. I just got back from Japan and I saw a mint condition RX-7, and I just like thought about that first RX-7 in the first movie. So the opening movie.
Yeah, from the red one.
The red one.
Yeah, Vin Diesel drove. But yeah, that like the whole car culture was cool, because then I was in that too at a young age before I could drive. So I was going to all these meets with some of my Audi friends that had cars that like had suspension, lowered wheels, had like exhaust.
At a young age? Or just
in high school, yeah.
In high school? Oh, no way.
Yeah, so these guys were like working and dumping all their money into cars.
Yeah.
Just everything they had. And it was cool because like we just sit in a parking lot, look at cars, talk about cars, and like drive them, and like, oh, like we put this tune and downpipe on now. How much faster is it? Oh, it's louder now. It sounds so good. Like, and we'd film it, and like it was like similar to fitness with me. Like I had that same I have the same passion for cars as I do fitness. So,
what's so intriguing about cars to you?
Everything, from the way it's designed, the way it makes you feel when you're in it, driving it, the connection, the ability to like get from point A to point B in a sense of style, because it's that car is yours, and like you can make it as cool or as bland as possible. Yeah. I'm
just asking that because like I'm not a huge car guy, and if you look at it from an objective standpoint, it's a vehicle that gets you from point A to point B. Yeah. And the price range is from like $5,000 to a reliable car to like hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm just like, that's a huge gap for the same purpose.
Yeah. But there's car communities where like you have a $5,000 car and you're putting money into that car and you're passionate about the car, and you meet up with other people to talk about the car. So I've met a lot of great people through the car, just like the gym. Yeah, I've met just as many cool people
from cars,
from
car communities, like cars and coffee,
or just like car meets. Yeah. Now social media, you find other people with the same car, and you find out what they do and why they love the car so much and how it makes them feel. And then it's just another subculture in life that you could attach yourself to, that other people are passionate about, to have a common interest, to then bring you together, to then find other interests,
like-minded people who share the same interests as you.
Yep.
What do you call what does community do for you? Like, what do these communities in like the health space or the fitness space or the business space or the car space, like what does like having these like individual tribes do to benefit your life as a whole?
You need people in your life. You need people that you trust. You need people that to share your ideas with. You need people in your life to build things that are greater than your own physical like bandwidth and physical power to build one thing. Like you need people in your life to be able to elevate your life, keep you accountable, have conversations with, like open up to, push yourself. If you're having an off day and they're having on day, they motivate you, vice versa. Like you're able to give to someone to be when they're having an off day and you're having an on day. So community is everything. People like comes back to the same thing we were talking about earlier. It comes down to the people in your life and how they make you feel. And that comes down to like what you guys are doing, what conversations you're having, and what energy you guys are bringing to the room.
Yeah. Energy is a weird thing. It's because like you could tell a warm energy or like a negative energy just like from like first interactions with people. What do you think that is? Like, why do you think we're so innate in that way?
I think some people are more aware than others. Some people come off negatively, but they're not negative people.
Yeah, that is true.
And it's just based off of like, if you feel that, it's, a lot of people project too. It's like, oh, this person is being an asshole or dick. It's like you think they're being a dick because
someone else said that,
or no, because of what you think an asshole or dick should do. But like in reality, this person is maybe just insecure, and that's their defense mechanism. So your ability to have maybe compassion and have empathy and be like, oh wow, like they're just really insecure. I kind of feel bad for them. Let me try to break their wall down. And then like you give some effort, you have compassion, you have empathy, and then you break their walls down, and then they open up and you're like, wow, this person's actually really awesome. He's my best friend now, right? Or whatever. Yeah. But it takes time sometimes for people, because most people are most people. Most people have their traits. Some people have things that they haven't unlearned from childhood trauma. Most people are maybe not disciplined in certain areas. So when you meet a lot of people aren't going to be developed in certain areas, or they're not able to be, open, or not, maybe they're not able to have efficient communication, maybe they're not emotionally aware,
because they didn't have the life experiences that you did to like learn that skill of like,
or maybe they didn't know how to, or maybe they weren't taught to, or maybe they didn't have the right people around them to even have those thoughts come into life,
like people who don't have like a mom or a dad, they don't have those qualities.
Yeah So everyone's life is different. So like, I think if you feel a certain way about someone, it's like it's more about you feeling that way rather than the person doing that to you.
Yeah, people are a funny thing. It's because like when something good happens to you, what do you want to do? Tell somebody, right?
Yeah, of course.
When something bad happens to you, what do you want to do? Tell somebody. Yeah. And it's like it's a social circle, and everyone has like a life experiences that you don't have. And I feel like it's important to like just hear like the importance of listening, and what is this person actually trying to say to me versus like, oh, he's just a dick or an asshole.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. What do you call it for people out there who don't know what to do? Like they have a void of like, I don't know what I want to do with my life, or I don't know how to get fit, or they have an interest in videography, but they don't know where to start. What's the first step? Because you've done it so many times, it sounds like over your lifetime. You're like, you found an interest in something, and you pivoted and you went and you're like, oh, that's it, and it's so hard. Like I've witnessed a lot of friends or people in my past just stay stagnant because they just don't know what the step is, that first step.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is like, you have to have time and a mental headspace to be able to want to create a new skill set, or a new hobby, or a new business, or a new venture, or a new aspect in your life. And I think you have to be intentional with it. You have to want to do it. So you have to like put yourself in situations that you're like experiencing new things. So like me, like hanging out with new friends at a young age, or like going to a different party, or going different park, or having a different conversation, like you have to be receptive to it. So like you wanting it bad enough, and you being receptive to people, and you being very, I think, aware and observant, and taking people in terms of like what they do and why those things make them happy, and if that makes them happy, will it make me happy, and like be willing to try it. Yeah. So number one, be observant and take mental note of things in life, not everything, but things that like you want to get into. Yeah. And number two, like actually create time to try them for yourself to see if they work. Yeah. So observe and try.
Observe and try. I love that. Where did this Monday Minutes come from? Because I feel like you've been pretty consistent with it for a while.
Yeah, almost 20. I started on Facebook in like 2015. Yeah. Almost every single Monday.
That's like 8 years, dude. Yeah. 8 years of just spitting your thoughts into a
camera. And sometimes it's whatever, and sometimes it's great, and sometimes I miss it. I do it on Tuesday because life, or like I'm traveling or something. But for the most part, it's been Monday Minutes, and it's something that
First off, can you explain like to people who don't know what they are?
Yeah, it's just like me going on like now it's on stories. Back then it was on Facebook. It's just me like kind of rambling for a little bit about whatever I'm thinking or going through, or that I want to work on Monday, and was more for myself, and then just create open dialogue and conversation. And then and the whole philosophy behind it is like, most of us don't like journal. So like me, like having a video journal of myself on like a camera and then posting it was like a good way to hold myself accountable. And then I told myself I want to do it every Monday because Mondays are important. And in society, we have weeks and weekends and mornings and noons and nights.
And Mondays are like the start of like this big old journey until the next one.
If you can have a good Monday, you could have, if you gotta have a good Monday start to your morning, you could have the momentum to carry throughout the day. Then you have like, oh wow, I had a great day, right? If you have a good Monday, you're likely to have a better Tuesday is higher. If you have a better Tuesday, you're likely to have a better week is that much higher. If you have a good week, you can have a good month to year to decades to life. So like life. A good life starts with good Mondays. That's how I think of it. Yeah.
Love that.
So just
have good Mondays, y'all.
Yeah, because like for me, it's like, be productive every single day to the day you die and like grind and this and that. It's like, okay, don't think about that. Just think about a good Monday morning and how it makes you feel and let the energy carry. I'm like, okay, I can do that. But like if you told me every single day you got to be on and this grind, and I'm like, I mentally couldn't do that.
Yeah.
But you naturally have more than one productive Monday morning because your energy carries, and then like you ride that wave.
I feel that's more digestible than like a lot of, I don't know, do you pay attention to like Jocko Willink or David Goggins at all? Those guys are very military driven, and they're just like wake up and they're like, you gotta get after
There's
it.
A time and place. There's a time and place for everything and everyone and everyone's philosophies, I think.
Sure.
And everyone's different. Everyone's going to resonate with someone different. You know, so what I'm saying might not resonate with person A, but it might be person B's, like, this is the way he or she's going to change their life, you know? So it's like, I think it's great that everyone has their own way of doing things, you know?
Are you really disciplined with like every aspect of your life? Because, I don't know. I like going out on weekends and like having a drink with friends, and then like I'll wake up in the morning and go work out. But then like there's that thing in the back of your head of just like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done that, even though the quality time with those friendships was like not worth me sacrificing a really good workout the next day. Like, do you have those?
I'm like, I'll have food that I want. I'll eat food that's not like clean. I'll go out to eat. I'll have drinks. But I try to be somewhat strategic about it. If I'm going to overeat the next day, then
you're fasting or something.
I'll fast, or I'll have a heavier lift day and I'll utilize more calories, right? Or the calorie burn into like some sort of strength training. So it's utilized more. If I'm drinking, I try to like, okay, if we're going to be like networking, great. If we're going to be out and mingling and meeting new people, okay, cool. Like like last night we went to sushi, there's 7 of us, and I'm pretty close to like 2 of them, 3 of them, and then the other group of people, like I was not as close, but we're like, you know, we're friendly. But then like, since we're all eating, enjoying the food that we loved and like having some sake, like everyone got a little bit looser, a little louder. We were all like cracking jokes, and it became a really good time and a really fun time that was really enjoyable. And I don't regret drinking at all. And I felt pretty good this morning because I hydrate, and obviously I do all these other things.
You're Kangen Water, guys.
Yeah. Kangen Water really helps with alcohol consumption and not being hungover, and also just being an athlete and recovering, and just as an average Joe, just being hydrated and having good functioning bodily movements and organs. And I mean, our bodies are 70% water, you know?
Yeah.
So a lot of our muscle, most of our blood is muscle. We're like walking aquariums, you know? So like your ability to stay hydrated and drink enough water, and the right water, is a direct correlation to a lot of things in your life in terms of energy and like your ability to recover, sleep, your hair, your skin, your nail. It's everything. And that and air. Air is like, it's harder to control because we go outside, you know, there's pollution, but
we live in a big city.
But I tell everyone, go get an air purifier, put it in your room.
Oh, really?
100%. Go get an air purifier, put it in your room. I use a company called IntelliPure. And I did my research, and actually the owner, when I asked him all these questions in 2018, he gave me his whole rundown of his how he created the company, and I really resonated with the story, and I believed in the product. And it started off in hospitals, and it came to consumer form, and I was like, all right, this is the best air purifier. I want to get one for my room, because you know you breathe every single second of your life. It's the biggest X factor. Hopefully. Yeah, I mean, like 5 minutes without air, then you die. So the air is very important, and the quality of air is important too.
A lot of people don't think about that because they're just like, oh, this is breathing, this is normal, and this is what just happens.
But the one air you can control that can have a drastic impact on your life
is like your sleep room.
Exactly, because you sleep for a third of your life. So if you control a third of your life's air, and at least maybe 90% of the water you drink, you know, 10% could be like other drinks you want, or juices or alcohol or whatever, but like 90% of your water, a third of your air, you can have a better quality of life.
It's so interesting that you just dive deep into these subjects, because I guess like you went to college for sociology and sports, mostly sports. You got your degree in sociology, and that's just like the concept of like learning.
Yeah,
right?
It's learning, being a student of the game, but like being passionate about like wanting like to learn more, to do better. Like you learn more to do better. to have like, for me at least, you know?
Yeah.
And then you learn more to have like more information to then apply it or not apply it. But then that allows you to do better.
Sure.
So you learning and your application of the knowledge that you learn can directly correlate to you living a better life and whatever you define better life as, you know? But
back to like our definition of success.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you call it? What is the importance of doing bad things for you? Like, I mean, being bad at things.
I think if you're not good at something and you want to get better at it, identify why you want to get better at it. Your why and your reason behind any of your actions is like, it's going to be the fuel to like you being consistent at that thing for like, for a long period of time, right? If you want to get better at it and you want it bad enough, then I think you figuring out a way to like jump over those hurdles and take on new information and apply new tactics to your life to get a new goal and make that thing you're not good at to something you're okay at, then to something you're pretty good at, then you're an expert at. Number one, after you're an expert at something, it's going to give you some sort of value, whether it's like a better body or like better relationships, more mental clarity, maybe more financial freedom.
Sure.
But then not only that, you're going to have this acknowledgement of your life of like, wow, I just did this. I was really bad at this and I'm good at this now.
Yeah.
So now you're going to have confidence because you did one thing very well. So like it goes back to me working out. That confidence I gained for myself working out my getting beginner gains, gaining 20 pounds, changing my whole life gave me the confidence.
Because you did it. You went through that journey.
Yeah.
And it just didn't happen overnight. Like it took day in and day out of like sucking at it for a long time to build that.
Yep. So I just relate my anything that I learned to like what I first learned, which is working out and getting better at it. I'm like, all right, like if I could do that in working out, I could do that in other areas as long as I want it bad enough.
That's the lesson, guys. Go work out. It'll change your life.
Yeah. That's it.
All right, dude. Well, thanks for coming on. I really appreciate you.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
It's awesome. I really appreciate you.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Cool.
We'll maybe do it again in the future.
Yeah.
Sweet,
cool.
dude. All right. Guys, where can everyone check you out?
I'm on Instagram and that's pretty much, I mean, I have a YouTube that I don't post, but mainly just on Instagram. Most
Kevin
active.
Lowe.
Yeah, Kevin D'Lo. And most active on that platform. And
go check out his content. And if you guys want to go check out some water and all that jazz, go check out his stuff. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
See you later.
We'll see you in the next one.
See you later.
Bye.